Greetings, everyone. Today we are in our section about solving equations and inequalities. So first of all, make sure you have your notes book. Make sure you have time to listen, pause, rewind as needed. Now, specifically, we're going to be looking at solving inequalities, so also make sure that you're on the right section. This is part of our big review first unit. So you might be coming here from another video or using this if you were absent, or just using this to honestly review and truly understand our process. First, let's talk about the golden rule of inequalities. So you have some space to fill this in. The golden rule: whenever you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative, you must flip the inequality symbol. Now, you've done this before in pre-algebra, but the key thing is the flip. When do we flip the inequality? Again, I'm going to go through some of this a little quickly, so if you aren't done writing, always pause before you continue. All right, let's go through just some generic steps for solving inequalities. Now, these are just, if you're a very linear thinker, these will help you through the process of remembering what to do. So first you want to solve for the variable. This is all of the solving equations pieces, right? Like the acronym from my other video, don't call me after midnight, right? Take care of all of these steps. That's what I mean by solve for variable. Step 2, check the order. What I mean by that is we want to write the variable first, right? And what that looks like is if I have 2 less than x, we want to flip it and say x is greater than 2. See how I did that flip? Step 3, you are going to be graphing your answers, and so we want to take care of circling that number on the number line. It's either going to be open or closed. We'll talk about that in a bit. Oh, sorry, that is step 4. Is it open or closed? So after you circle the number on the number line, is it open? Do you shade it? That's what we're going to work on. And step 5, shade appropriately, meaning less than shades left, greater than shades right. But that's only true if you took care of step 2. Okay? So again, I'm just going to go through these steps on each example to help you through. And yes, I'm repeating myself here. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the inequality symbol. I just can't stress that enough. That's why we've got it several places. All right, let's talk about when is it an open circle, meaning I just draw an open circle, versus when is it a closed circle, or you might say shaded or filled in, okay? It's an open circle if it's less than, greater than, or not equal to. Therefore, if it's a closed or shaded circle, that occurs when it's less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or equal to. If there's equal, it's closed. Not equal, open. All right? Let's take a look at this little tiny example here. Step 1, solve like you're solving an equation. Okay, I'm thinking of my little acronym, right? Don't call me after midnight. So I have no distribution, no combining, but I'm going to move a variable. Instead of minus 3x, I'm going to add 3x. 5 falls down, 13 falls down. Remember, this is 1 xylophone plus 3 xylophones, 4 xylophones. Next step, undo any addition or subtraction. Instead of positive 13, we're going to minus 13. That gets me a negative 8. And undo any multiplication or division. Instead of times 4, divide 4. So we get a negative 2. Now look at, do you see my mistake already? These aren't equations anymore, right? These are inequalities. Now, I divided by a regular 4. regular 4. So there's no special rule here. There's no golden rule, okay? Next step, check your order. Oh, my letter is not first. So I like to call it flip-flopping. What that means is if you flip some of it, you flip all of it, right? Think of it if you looked at it in a mirror. Think of it if you were turning it around completely, right? This is how I want your answer written. X is greater than or equal to -2. Now a quick little number line. At -2, I want a circle. Open or closed? Closed. Closed circle because it's or equals to. See, I just filled it in. Last step, shade. X is greater than -2. What numbers are greater than -2? The numbers to the right. Now you have 3 options. Let me show you 3 options before you do anything. If you are OCD in particular, you might want to go up and over. If you don't care about being messy, you might zigzag over. If you are OCD and want to take your time, maybe you just shade the line to the right. Okay? It's totally, your choice how you show that. I personally like to draw up and over. Alrighty, let's take a look at some full examples where you're given space to show your solving steps, where you could have flips, and where you need to graph on a number line. Alright, so let's get started. I still like to draw my line all the way down my workspace. Okay, let's start with our solving steps. Don't call me after midnight. I know it's silly, but I have a bad memory, and so I like to write it out. Step 1, distribute. Let's distribute that -2. -2, don't forget that. All right, -2 times +4, -8. -2 times +7, -14. Combine. Combine. Yeah, look at the combining. I've got a +5 and a -14. If I just put those together, I have -9. Do you see how that happened? Let's drop down. Didn't use, didn't use, didn't use. Next step, move variable. Nope, there's only one of them, so don't move it if there's only one. Next step, undo any addition or subtraction. Instead of -9, let's +9. Drop down, drop down, drop down. Next step, undo any multiplication or division. Instead of times -8, divide by -8. Hold on, hold on, hold on. What did I just divide by? I divided, maybe use your pencil and mark this in. I divided by a -8. What does that mean? That means we flip the inequality. Okay? All right. Drop down. 24 divided by -8 is -3. Next step, look at your notes, look up above. I need to write it so the letter is first. Letter first. When we flip-flop everything. So I like to call this, don't let this confuse you, a double flip, right? Like I flipped because of the golden rule, and I flipped to just write it correctly. All right, next, we're going to create our own number line. I'm going to say -3. If you would, please just do one number on each side, at least. If you want to do more, cool, but at least one, okay? -3. -3 or equals to means shaded. Shaded because it's got an equals bar. Shading. X is greater than. Greater than. Greater means to the right. You guys also, if you write the letter first, I'm asking you that for a reason, not just to be technical, but look, it's pointing to the right, and my graph goes to the right. You see how that worked? Now that only worked because I followed the rules. Okay? That's just a trick because we followed the rules. All right, next up, draw my line, go through my steps, no distribution, no combining, move a variable. Uh-oh. If I subtract 5n, they both cancel. Wait a second. Okay, go through the motions, right? Like still drop down, still drop down, still drop down. This is like our equations, a true or false, a yes or no. Is 9 less than or equal to -1? Or is -1 the bigger number? No, that's not true. No. Ooh, if it's not true, what's the words? No solution. That's still true. In the sense of you can still have special answers, special words. If all the letters disappear, I need words. Alrighty, let's take a look at this next example. Let's go through our solving steps. Again, I'm just going to keep writing this acronym. It's just helpful to me in the process. Let's start with distribution. You'll notice, again, we're distributing so many negatives. That's on purpose. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. And I'm going to drop down what we didn't use. Combine. Anytime you have 3 things, I'll be honest, you probably have a combination. A positive 18 and a negative 7, that gets me a positive 11. Drop down, oops, drop down. I'm going to put a 1 here because I don't want to forget about it. Move variable. What sounds easier, minusing 1 or minusing 21? Yep, I had the same thought. Instead of a positive 1x, see how we're using the opposite sign? We're going to minus 1x. Now what that means is we have a negative 29 here. So be careful there. That negative belongs to the 29, not to the x. Undo any addition or subtraction. We're going to minus 11, negative 40, and undo any multiplication or division. If I divide both sides by 20, I get a perfect negative 2. The letter is first. The 20 was regular, right? There's no special flips here at all. So on my number line, I'm open at negative 2, and I want to shade less than negative 2. Okay, no special flips, no special rules. The fact that the answer is negative is irrelevant. That doesn't matter. That's not the special rule. Everything looks good, nice and tidy, and we showed all our work. All right, let's take a look at this one. Let's stick to our steps to get us going. Kind of looks like there's a lot going on, so maybe write a little smaller. Let's start with distribution. I'm going to use colors since there's so much going on. Negative 2 distributed. Negative 2, negative times negative. Negative 5 distributed. Negative 5, negative times positive. All right, let's drop down. Next step, we want to combine. So much going on here. All right, negative 2k's and negative 5k's. If I combine, that's negative 7k's. A regular 24 and a negative 10 create a positive 14. Now the lines I drew are just to help me think through. That is optional, but I think helpful. And slow down here. Take a look at that right side. It's not often that we have this, but those are also like terms. They both have k's. If I have negative 9k's and positive 4k's, I have negative 5k's. See what happened there? All right, next step, we want to move a variable. Now, this step is a little unique. Normally, I say you pick which letter you want to move, right? Not in this case, you guys. Here's why. If I move the 5k, nothing's left. that whole side of the equation, or excuse me, inequality disappeared. That's not okay. I can't have empty. I can't have empty, which means I'm sort of forcing you to move the 7. Instead of negative 7k, positive 7k. Let's drop down the positive 14. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2. We have something on both sides. Let's keep going. There's no addition or subtraction, but we do have some division. Instead of times 2, let's do a quick divide 2. All right. Next, according to our steps, to make sure we are correct, we want to write the letter first. The letter first. Flip-flop. That's totally a math term, right? Let's flip for our letter first. We are open circle, and we are greater than 7. Greater than 7. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, let's take a look at this next one here. Let's go through our steps. Step 1, distribute. You'll notice I'm having you distribute so many negatives, and the reason for that is it is so missed. So often, students space out. That's a negative 5. We have distribution of a negative. Step 2, combine. Yep, there's 3 things here. What can I combine? This and this go together. They get me 32. Some of you are noticing, but go through the steps. Move variable. Would you rather add 5n or add 5n? Yeah, see what's happening? Go with it. Show me everything. They both cancel. Still drop down. Still drop down. Still drop down. It matters. Okay? If all the letters disappear, it's special, but what kind of special? Let me read this to you. Is 32 greater than or equal to 32? Yeah, it is. It's equal to. That's true. If it's true, it's infinite many solutions, just like our equations. But it matters, right? That bar being there. That bar being there determined it being true. Okay, so you have to truly read it out. You have to show your work, and please don't use other applications. Yep, I know what you're thinking. Don't use them because it's going to show your answers differently. I will not accept those. So if you have questions, let me know. All right, our last one. I encourage you when you see a piece of text, just like in English class, read through it once on your own. Just get a grasp of what we're talking about first. You want to make a rectangular banner that's 18 feet long. You have no more than 48 feet of trim for the banner. What are the possible widths of the banner? Okay, so first, I see we're talking about a rectangle. Draw a picture. It is 18 feet long. Okay, that means it's 18 here and it's 18 here. Feet. Okay. What are the widths? That's the question. I don't know what the width is, right? We have no more than 48 feet of trim. Do you know what the word trim means? Trim means around. If I go around a shape, what's the mathematical word for that? Perimeter. The perimeter is 48. No more than. No more than. I could use all 48. I could use less than 48. But that's my perimeter. Okay. Yes, you are expected to know the perimeter of a rectangle. The perimeter of a rectangle is length plus width plus length plus width. Some of you might write that differently. In a shortened form, what I mean by that is you might say 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Both work out, okay? All right, let's fill in what we know. Okay, 48 is the most I have, the biggest, open to the biggest, or I could use exactly 48. I have 2 lengths of 18. and I don't know my widths. I don't. We just created our inequality. Okay, basic calculations here though. 2 times 18 is 36, so take care of that, right? That's basic. Subtract 36 over. We're just solving. And division. We got a nice clean number. Write it correctly, letter first, which involves flip-flopping. Okay. So, oops, I didn't flip-flop my symbol. Did you see that? Oops, oops. Point to the W. Mortvet, you gotta flip. All right. Let me see if I answered the question. What are the possible widths of the banner? The widths can be exactly or less than 6. That makes sense, right? I could use 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I could use any of those. So any positive value that's equal to or less than 6 is okay. That makes sense. Oh my goodness. Now, we might have done this lesson in class. You might be doing this lesson independently on your own. Either way, if you have questions, use your resources. What are those resources? Seek out other YouTube videos. Seek help in the Sabre Center with any math teacher. Seek help with me during white space or after school. Just keep in touch. Let me know what you need. And until next time, have a good one.